Our next speaker. Oh my God. Grant McGaw, technology executive, entrepreneur, healthcare advocate. He's recognized by Legacy Magazine as a thought leader and super connector for healthcare professionals. Grant also provides leadership for the continued development of innovative, robust, and secure information technology environments for healthcare facilities in South Florida. His primary responsibility for this role encompasses a wide variety of strategic technology issues: governance and policy, data analytics, collaboration, communication, and information technology protocols. You're speaking my language, bro, because I love technology. Grant is presenting this phenomenal metaverse panel. We have Dale L. Campbell Jr. Dale is a screenwriter, musician, audio engineer, and creative technologist, the creator and founder and CEO of Positive Productions Plus. P to the third power. Positive Productions Plus mission: do things on purpose for purpose. They specialize in 3D animation, visual effects, VFX, and immersive content production for national and Midwest clients, focusing on developing projects that support the public good. The next panelist, Bernard Key. Mr. Key is the CEO of Nubian Media and has involvement in the community and schools for over 20 years. As a consultant, he was one of the lead project managers responsible for deploying wireless technologies in the Chicago school system in the 90s. Mr. Key implemented, designed, and deployed Wi-Fi solutions for over 1,700, did you hear me? 1,700 public and private schools and community centers. His wireless infrastructure design is now standard in the inner city schools. As a result, students are not confined just to the classroom, the desk, or the building. During his project deployment, Mr. Key recognized the need to implement technology, engineering, science, and math, STEM, in the inner city schools. Fast forward to today. He's collaborating with publishing and media companies and is tasked with leading the charge and innovation of the build out, creating content for the first Nubian metaverse, STEM City USA and STEM City Chicago. From AR, augmented reality, e-commerce apps, to immersive content in entertainment, Dale and his team of artists and programmers create stories and produce solutions for PPP clients. He's got an ongoing animated series called The World According to Bagley. It engages young people, encourages empathy, and helps tackle the systemic problem of bullying. Help me bring to the show Black Business Expo excellence in Mr. McGow and his team.
Thank you, Barbara. I could not have done that any better than that. You shine. You definitely know how to bring us up. Look at my man there.
Wow.
Baby, this is what I do. Man. This is what I do.
I'll give you my last dollar. How about that?
Welcome, Dale, Grant, Bernard. I know that genius.
Thank you.
The genius is on the platform already. It's coming, and I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you very much, Barbara. And Dale, looking good there, my man. Thanks for joining. I want to tell our
entire good too, as always.
Oh, there he is. A little bit of delay. I got you. No problem. So this is a special broadcast. I have not only a podcast, but also Follow the Brand TV. And what I do with this particular platform is to bring together our community to have meaningful discussion and have visibility of our greatest creators that are out in our world that you may not be aware of. Now, one of the services that I provide as CEO of 5-Star BDM is in the world of digital transformation and digital strategy. We're going to have a conversation about the metaverse, virtual world. These two are creators of these types of environments. So I wanted the audience to have a better understanding. You've got a lay of the land, some of the, descriptions, what it does, what it can do. But we have people that are actually creating these worlds. These are African American people, right? People of color. And as far as I understand, by metrics, there's only 1 to 3% of us out there creating these worlds. We want to bring this together so we can begin chopping some wood. As Christopher Lafayette said, we got to create our own experiences in our own worlds. And we're going to have that experience with Dale and Bernard. So before I get started, now, Bernard, you just made some history for the Black Business Olympics. You created a very beautiful video that we want to show the audience. And then when we come back from that video, we're going to have an in-depth discussion. How about that?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Eric Kelly III and a host of phenomenal speakers from all around the globe for this 7-day virtual event that you don't want to miss.
Wow. Now, see, people started getting a feel. Now, that was a 2-dimensional user experience episode. I want to ask Bernard, what is your definition? How do you define the user experience, and what did you do for this particular video?
Well, Dr. Kelly, he asked me at the last moment to create something that I could show as a commercial. So so that's a first draft. But it's kind of, I cannot explain. You can't explain the metaverse, but you have to take it in context of looking at a client, looking at an industry, and seeing what that company is trying to achieve. And when I was making that video, my whole thing was to show people what the metaverse is, because I can't explain it. Every client that tries to explain to their coworker or their spouse, they're always rambling on, and then they always say, you just got to see it. So I thought, just got to see it. If I produce these 2-dimensional clips and give them a visual and let them know that once you are fully engaged, you could go up to that picture and buy it. And you can literally, and that room, for example, that is a event room for my colleagues that's in the Black Expo to use when they want to. I'm a part of STEM City. So I wanted to create this commercial to let them know that, hey, this is a event room that's dimensional in 2D right now, but it can be dimensional in 3D, and it is a part of STEM City.
That's amazing. I mean, like I said, we can see right now that you're starting to get into an immersive experience. Now, I know that Dale is a 3D animator, and I want to ask him, so like, walk me through your workflow. When you start a 3D animation project, how do you see that in a virtual world experience?
So kind of walk you through the process that I use. Is that what you're asking mainly?
Yeah, just give us a context of what really is taking place behind the scenes. And then, because, you know, when I think 3D, I'm thinking cartoons. I'm thinking, you know, maybe a movie. I'm just not sure. Yeah. How do you create those types of objects?
You know, when it comes down to the metaverse and 3D animation in general, the process is really pretty much the same. You know, when it comes to designing your interface and all these other things that go into place, whether it's on the next film you're going to produce or whether it's going to be the next world you're going to produce, they all have a basic starting point, and that's basically you have to come up with an idea, a theme, a purpose for what you're doing. When I come to a client and whether they want me to create 3D animation for them or a VR world, it all starts off with that, and then you start doing the basic things that you do no matter where you're at. You start storyboarding. And basically what storyboarding is you design characters that are going to be in this world or in the animation, whether it's for medical or whether it's a brand new cartoon you're going to be creating about Africa. You have to create the characters, you have to storyboard it, you have to create the flow. I mean, you just can't jump in. I mean, you know, like Miyazaki, he does that. He'll draw images, and his images creates a storyboard. But for most of us, we have to get that storyboard lined up. And then from there, it's on to modeling and texturing and rigging the characters, doing the animation, lighting, the camera work, rendering, which a lot of people don't get and don't understand. And there's the music that everyone takes. That has to be a part of it. And then you get the final editing and outputting. The process is very long, and that's, you know, whether, like I said, whether it's like a medical animation for a project or whether it's a film that's going to be in the theaters, the process is the same. You can't sway from it. You have to stay on it, or you can just have a delusion and a mess.
So if I heard you right, like what Bernard created, he could create fairly quickly in comparison to a 3D animation project, because maybe some of the elements are already existing. So he's just making animated changes there, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and
like
to
stuff,
and to
it's
add,
usually for a specific.
Oh, Dale, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, for a lot of the things that I do is specific to a client, and so they already know the story they want to tell. You were given the opportunity. It's a great one. It's the fun way to do it, where somebody say, "Hey, this is what I need. You go do it," and then you create that world. And in virtual reality, a lot of the assets are already there in Unity and in Unreal, and you can take those, and you can also use 3D modeling and everything like that. Like if somebody wants a specific character, an exact replica of them in that world, you have to model it and create it. And that's the process that I'm talking about. If they want to reproduce their main office or their main building, or, you know, some part of the city that they're in or something like that, that's where what I do comes into play, for the unique customization of it. But it's all the same, it really is.
Yes, and if I could add, and Dale more or less work on the back end, and I work on the front end. And the whole difference is that the metaverse will be built on Unreal Engine, which is a game design application, as well as Unity. But what I'm seeing a lot of metaverse developers are using is Unity. And that's where designers like Dale come in to design the back end of STEM City. Now, with the metaverse, it's not that many people in the metaverse at one time to justify the cost of building out such of a metaverse environment. So building smaller environments like we have done in STEM City, which is still immersible, still in 3D, and you still get the full experience, but it's more accommodating to smaller crowds, and it's more versatile. And on the front end that I do, just like Dale mentioned, when you have to storyboard, you have to rig, and you got to know what the story is. Now you put that in a client context. For example, I have a couple of cannabis clients, and one of my clients wanted me to develop a cannabis laboratory for their investors to see. So I did this lab, you know, had the logos, had some test tubes and some visual effects going. And the gentleman showed it to his board and they loved it. And so they were like, yeah, the only question was, man, can you add some more test tubes and can you add a lab coat? And I had to remind them, it's like, man, aren't you asking me the wrong questions? They were like, what kind of questions should we be asked? How can I monetize it? How can I take that person that's in your immersive metaverse from saying wow to buying products and taking it to the cart and making that purchase? And how can you expand? Why aren't you guys asking me that question? Oh, because I guess we don't know enough about the metaverse. It's like, exactly. That's where STEM City come in. So taking those verticals, so far I have so many vertical markets where I've shown artists, musicians, fashion designers, manufacturers how to utilize the metaverse for them to elevate their brand, to generate sales, and to begin getting their content and that website stuff ready to integrate into Web 3.0.
Well, you just said the right words, is that if you've done your homework, you already have the base platform to begin launching a virtual world project. And the same elements are still there as far as monetization, branding, marketing, getting the audience to engage with the project. So as they maybe, because most people are going to be like, I know how to get to a website. Well, if you get into a website and then you've got a portal that now gets you into your virtual world,
right?
Now you're starting to talk. So that's what you guys do. You guys can like, all right, let me take what you've got for digital assets right now. Take a look at it. That's going to give me some themes. It's going to tell me a little bit about you as a culture, and then what you want to do. Do you want to continue in that vein, or do you want to expand or change in those worlds? So the question comes: what drives the cost? Because it's a little different building out a website. Websites can maybe, they can start from very little to as much as $5,000 to $10,000. But what is driving the most cost in a virtual world project?
Man, should I expose my secret?
No.
No, I shouldn't. You know something? Being a creator and being a teacher and being a parent and being a technologist, and I tell parents, you're either going to raise your kid to be one or two, either a consumer of technology or a developer or an innovator of technology. Every single technology I come out, I look at it and how I can make money. And when the Oculus came out, when the COVID came out, when I saw trends and me being an educator, I knew it's like, I think I better educate myself and begin educating my community on metaverse, NFTs, cryptocurrency, and everything that's associated with blockchain. And by me being that, I see the cost is strictly hardware. And with this technology, the hardware is not that expensive. For example, Oculus or Pico. If you invest in that and you invest in an account to get yourself, you can actually start developing under $1,000, and that's the high end. Now, as you stick with it, as you create, as you innovate, that's where your businesses and your craft come in. Because you could either be good at this or you could just suck.
You'll find out. Now, Dale, I like Dale to chime in on that because I know there's different elements to this whole. There's UX or user experience. There's UI, which is user interface. You talked about user interface with hardware. Just give us some context around how you see cost in this equation.
For me, cost is going to be a whole lot more because like Bernard pointed out, I'm on the back end. So for me, it's everything from the render server to the licensing. You know, the average machine used in 3D animation cost is going to run about $5,000 and up. There's a difference. Bernard and I need each other to bring about the final product. The back end is quite a bit more expensive and quite a bit more work. I know Bernard has a team and I have a team. And the thing that I've learned that my team will grow exponentially because as clients increase, as the metaverse becomes a part of our normal everyday life, the cost is going to go up as my team has to come in, as the hardware has to come in. I'm basically like a small version of Pixar. Okay. I'm just taking it and preparing for the metaverse and moving forward in that realm. So the cost is, yeah, it's quite a bit higher.
So it really depends on the complexity, the depth of the project. I can imagine like just making a movie. You hear about making a movie could cost anywhere from a few $100s or a few $1 million, depending on the complexity of the project and what are you trying to accomplish. Again, when you start getting into immersive reality, it's something that is a persistent reality. That means you've got to maintain it as well. We talked earlier on my earlier show with Natasha Rapsat. She talked about that. You've got to understand what you're creating and think about it from a life cycle. How are you going to first create it? How are you going to manage it? How are you going to support it? How are you going to change it? How are you going to sunset it? So what I see what Bernard is doing is like, all right, well, you've already got the base. You've got your world. So, hey, I've got a virtual world in the metaverse that is STEM City, and it has branches, STEM City, Chicago. They're looking to also branch out into other cities. So like in a franchise type mode. Is that correct? Am I on the right track there?
Yes. Yes. And the cool thing about this, and Dale's work is very complex in terms of doing Unity, because mind you, building a metaverse is comparable to building a video game like Rocket League or those expensive games that's on the market. Now, and what's so cool about this is that with STEM City, what I'm doing is taking youth from schools, from the community, and we're doing educational summer camps, and they are going to become our workforce. So they are going to be spending summers in a safe environment with Oculus, learning how to add content to STEM City Chicago as well as STEM City USA. And this way, the front end, the whole support development is going to be driven by young people that's going to be adding content, that's going to be supporting, that's going to acquire job force learning skills, besides just painting Vidocs and picking up roadkill and putting a plastic cap on their head, and we call that job training. No, we're going to train our kids in IT, metaverse development, cryptocurrency, and they are going to run STEM City Chicago as I fade away.
Now, see, what you're talking about is where we really need to get to, is that our community is building our virtual world, our virtual community. If you look at STEM City, it's a virtual community. And the fact that then we can participate in this community, so you're not just a consumer, like you said earlier, you're just a consumer. No, you're actually a co-creator in this world, and that you can actually get into like a revenue share of the dollars that are being exchanged. So the deal flow that's taking place through these worlds are happening. Now I want to ask Dale, how hard is it to learn 3D animation?
It's pretty hard. It's not impossible by any means. It's just like any other professional skill. You have to get some training in it. I'm much older. When I came into it, I had a mentor, and he taught me everything that I know, which I think is one of the best ways, because you have more of a one-on-one connection with someone. But again, and I've talked to young people. I don't care if you go to YouTube and you learn how to do 3D animation there on YouTube, or if you go to a university or a college or a community college, whatever you're got to do, whatever you need to do it to get the training. Some young people I've met, they're just gifted enough they can go out and learn it themselves. But I find that for the majority of us, it takes the training, because the thing that happens is that you learn how to do bits and pieces. Everyone likes doing sci-fi, creating spaceships and all that, but they don't have the full study, the full gambit of everything that they need to do to create a future, whether it's in the metaverse or working for Pixar.
Right. Hey, and Grant, one thing about Unity is free. They have free curriculum. And when I was a teacher, this had to be back in 2010. I was begging my STEM managers and my boss, my principals at my school, stop letting me teach HTML. Let me teach Unity. Let me teach Unity. And they were like, what is Unity? That's a game design that they let me teach it. They would not let me teach this. And I'm like, it's free curriculum. Schools aren't, and I could get them, but they would not listen to me. And you forward right now, schools are still teaching the wrong thing. They're teaching HTML when they should be teaching Unity. They're teaching coding when they should be teaching IoT. So I'm taking it on myself to teach educators Unity in STEM City. And what that means by teaching them where the resources are, the YouTubes, and Unity also have online classes that they give to teach educators game design.
5-Star BDM, Brand Development Masters, is a professional consulting and advisory group keenly focused on business development services for the small to mid-sized business and entrepreneurs. Although every business is unique, they often share business development challenges that can be addressed through smart branding. Services include process improvement and operations, digital strategy and transformation, business intelligence, digital marketing, and personal branding. Our business and personal branding company has helped a number of professionals and organizations to optimize and grow. This results in more business, more opportunities, better reach, positive outcomes. Visit www.5starbdm.com today to learn more.